Hey guys, it's Sam and this is my October wrap-up. This month I read 11 books and that makes up for last month where I only read 3 because I was so busy. I was actually really busy this month as well, but for some reason I just managed to power through so many books. Dewey's 24-hour readathon helped a ton, but otherwise I was just a reading machine this month, so let's get going. The first book I picked up was Amour by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is a new adult circus romance and it takes place in Las Vegas. It follows our main character Thora, who moves to Vegas and wants to become an acrobat in a kind of Cirque du Soleil type show. She then just so happens to run into Nikolai, who is one of the main leads in the show, and he is a Russian acrobat that comes from a Russian acrobat family, and things kind of take off from there. This book was a lot of fun and it actually got me out of my reading slump that I was in last month. New adult tends to be the genre that I go to when I want to get out of a reading slump. I'm actually not a very big fan of new adult, but I find that it's really great for getting out of a reading slump because it's very quick to read, it's fairly predictable, it has certain tropes that it kind of follows, and that just makes it kind of easy to get out of reading slump for me personally. But I actually really enjoyed this because there are a lot of things I have problems with in new adult, and this did not have that. So there was no slut shaming, there was no abusive behavior. At the very beginning, I thought that there might be some kind of very iffy things happening in this relationship, but it turned out to not be that way, and I really enjoyed a lot of the side characters who were actually kind of fully fleshed out, where usually new adult side characters are just blank canvases of nothing. So I really enjoyed this. I wasn't a huge fan of the romance. I don't know why I wasn't, because it should have kind of spoken to me. I didn't hate it, but I just wasn't a huge fan of the romance, so I ended up giving this one 3 out of 5 stars because I wasn't super attached to the romance, and since this is a romance book, you need to be a little more attached to the romance. But I do plan on picking up Krista and Becca Ritchie's other series. It's the Addicted series, which I have heard amazing things about from the Wolfpack. So I am going to be definitely picking that one up soon when I want to get out of the reading slump. I want to have them on my shelves so that when a reading slump hits, I can start with those. The next book that I picked up was First and Then by Emma Mills, and this one I requested for review from Macmillan, and I've already done a full review on this, so I'm not going to talk about this much, but I really enjoyed this book. It is a Pride and Prejudice meets Friday Night Lights, so it's not a retelling really of Pride and Prejudice. There are some key elements that are kind of left in from Pride and Prejudice. They are not, the main characters are not like Lizzie and Darcy. The main characters aren't even the same. They're not in the same kinds of family situations, and it focuses on different themes, but the Lizzie and Darcy characters remain pretty true, and it's a really fun read if you like Pride and Prejudice, or even if you don't, or if you like football kind of books, and just like that Friday Night Lights kind of feel. I thought this was super cute. I really enjoyed the romance. Any version of Lizzie and Darcy really just gets me. So I absolutely love this, and I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. This one has since been released. I think it came out on the 13th of this month. The next book that I picked up was The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I've also done a review on this, and we also had this for our random read-alongs book for last month, so we've already done a live show on that, doing a full discussion if you want to see our spoilery thoughts. But I really enjoyed this book. I love the writing. I'm in love with the characters. It made me very anxious because it is a creepy, atmospheric book, which just speaks to the writing, but I had moments where I had to put it down because it was too much for me. So I'm taking a break before reading the rest of the books in the series because I know it's just going to get worse from here. But I love the characters, so I have to keep reading it. But the plot, like the paranormal elements, are very original, and it was unlike anything I've ever read as far as in the paranormal genre. I didn't know what to expect, and I think that's what kept me on the edge of my seat all the time and just made me very anxious. But I really loved it. I love the characters, and I can't wait to see what happens later on in the rest of the series. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. I then picked up Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. This is a YA contemporary about Emmy, who is a set designer in Hollywood. She's 18, I believe. She's still in high school, but it doesn't really focus on her in high school. I think she's just about to graduate at the beginning of this book. And she's an up-and-coming set designer in Hollywood, and she is entrusted with her brother's apartment for the summer while he's away. During this time, Emmy and her best friend Charlotte, who also works in the set design kind of arena, discover a secret within an estate sale of a deceased former Hollywood legend, kind of like a John Wayne type character, and they kind of go on this wild goose chase to discover this person that is referenced in this kind of secret. So it's kind of like a mystery mixed with a little bit of romance. Emmy is an out lesbian woman, and she has been in relationships formerly with girls. It's not a coming out story. She's already out and is secure in her sexuality, and I thought that was a really interesting element because a lot of books that I have read in the LGBTQ genre are coming out stories, which are still very important and we still need. But I was interested to see how this was handled within a YA contemporary, because you don't tend to see a lot of out characters in YA contemporary. So I really enjoyed that element, and like I said, it was a mystery kind of, and you were trying to kind of follow what was going on and what these different clues were going to be uncovered. So I really enjoyed this. It's not a mystery thriller, it's just like a contemporary mystery. It's kind of hard to explain, but it was really fun, really fast paced, and I really love the characters in this one. I gave this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I picked up was Ice Like Fire by Sarah Rosh. I requested this book for review from HarperCollins. This book has since been released. I'm actually doing a full review, which will be up on Monday, but this is the second book in the Snow Like Ashes trilogy. I had did a review for Snow Like Ashes when it first came out, so I will link that up above on the screen as well. But this one I feel like suffered a little bit from second book slump. I really enjoyed a lot of elements of it. This book is far more political and there's a lot more going on, where the first book was a little more action driven. This is very much political driven. There's still a lot of things going on, but I felt like it dragged on a little too long. This is a fairly long book and I felt like it dragged on a little bit too long and that it felt very much like a filler book. The next book is going to be absolutely amazing and I cannot wait for the finale, but I thought that there was a lot of things that just didn't need to be so dragged out, and there's a lot of characters introduced, some of them that I liked, some of them that I didn't, but one in particular I liked a lot. There is a really strong focus on female relationships in here and female friendships, which I absolutely adore, and there's actually a love triangle element in here, but not one that's annoying, because the main character, the female character, does not focus on the love triangle at all, and she realizes that she has bigger things to worry about. But an interesting thing to note in this is that I actually switched ships in this book, which never happens to me. So I end up liking a different couple than I originally did in the first book. So weird, so weird. But ultimately, I did enjoy this. It's still worth the read, but it does suffer a little bit from second book slump. I gave this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. And then it was a Dewey's 24-hour readathon, so I picked up Onyx by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the second book in the Lux series, which I consider an upper YA series. The main characters, I believe, are 17 or 18, but there's definitely new adult kind of sexy time elements mixed in with this. And this is a paranormal series. It's about aliens, which everybody knows. It's said right there in the synopsis. This is the second book in the series, so I don't want to go much into it. I enjoyed it. It was still fast-paced. I love Jennifer L. Armentrout's writing. Again, she has that kind of new adult writing style, so it's very fast-paced. It's just so quick to read. You just want to keep picking it up. And I really enjoy the relationship in here. I think that it dragged out a little bit too much in here. The relationship in here is kind of like a witty bantery, we kind of hate each other, we keep trying to kind of stay away from each other, da 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 da. And I think that was fine in book 1. It dragged out a little too long in book 2. I feel like we didn't need to keep doing that over and over again. You guys are obviously going to be together. It's a paranormal love story. We know what's going to happen, okay? So I didn't feel like that was necessary, but I overall really enjoyed it and I cannot wait to finish the rest of the series. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. I then picked up Blue is the Warmest Color by Julie Moreau, and it absolutely broke me. This is a story of Clementine, and this follows her in high school and up through high school until she is an adult, and it really focuses more on her high school journey, and she's discovering that she doesn't reciprocate feelings that she has towards her high school boyfriend. She thinks something's wrong with her, she's not really sure what's going on, and then her openly gay best friend takes her out to a gay bar, and she becomes captivated by a girl there. So it is a story of her falling in love, discovering who she is. It's about 2 lesbian women. It is beautiful, heartbreaking, romantic. The depiction of love and of the sex scenes in here, because this is explicit at points, but not explicit in a explicit like pornographic way, just in a beautiful, this is art, this is wonderful way. I absolutely loved it. I've heard amazing things about this, but I was not expecting to love it as much as I did, and I cried at the end, which does not happen with most books, let alone graphic novels. So I absolutely adore this. I know this was made into a film, so I'm going to check the film out. I heard it's different. I'm going to check the film out at some point, but I absolutely recommend this. I think the art is beautiful, the writing is beautiful, the story is beautiful. Absolutely recommend it. 5 out of 5 stars. My success with graphic novels continued because I picked up The Wicked and the Divine Volume 2 Fandemonium. As you may or may not know, I absolutely adored Volume 1 of The Wicked and the Divine. The Wicked and the Divine is kind of a mixed series. You either get people who love it or absolutely hate it, but I adore it so, so much. I think it's probably right now my current favorite series, above Saga. I cannot even believe that I've said that, but I absolutely adore it, and it is about gods who are reincarnated I think they're reincarnated every 10 years, but they only stay around for 2 years at a time, and there's a lot of mystery surrounding it. People don't really know why this happened. So these gods are from all different kinds of religions. You'll have Greek gods and Irish gods and, you know, Celtic gods, all different kinds of gods from every different kind of religion, and it's amazing, and I love them. And in this book especially, you get these characters a little more fleshed out, and there's ones I'm really starting to love. I love all the underworld gods, and they are just my favorites. I mean, all the gods are really cool in their own way, but there's a lot going on with the gods of the underworld, which, like, duh. But they are just kind of the tortured souls because it kind of goes with the setting. I just really love this whole series. I really can't say much about this one, obviously. It left on a huge cliffhanger. I don't even know what to do. I'm almost tempted to get single issues. I'm not going to because I'm going to wait for the bind-ups, but I need to know what happens. And I just love this series. The art is gorgeous. There's a lot of mystery still to be revealed, but if you are okay with that, I think this is an amazing series. I don't need everything told to me right up front. I am okay. I don't think this is a very confusing plot line. Some people say it's confusing. I disagree. I just love it. I have no problems with it whatsoever. I think it's amazing. They do some really interesting things with the art in here, so it's not just panels. There's some like full page spreads that are like very different than anything I've ever seen. I love it. I can't stop gushing about it. If you haven't read the series, try it out. You might hate it, but I hope you love it. 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. I then picked up Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I've also already filmed a review for this, which will be up later this month. This is an adult literary fiction story, and it's following a Chinese-American family in the 70s when they discover that their middle daughter, who is the beloved daughter, was found dead. So this is a story of their family saga and their family history and all of the events that led up to her death and what may have caused her death. This was a really interesting story. I found it to be fast-paced. I still wanted to pick it up. I love family sagas in general. This one is not my favorite, though, of the ones that I've read. I did enjoy it, but I had a hard time connecting to the characters. I tend to love family sagas because you get a long time with all these characters and you get to really be invested in them and their stories. And this one really didn't have that effect on me because I think all of the events we saw with the family all connected to the girl's death, and that makes sense. This was a story they were trying to tell. It's more of a plot-driven family saga, I believe, than a character-driven one, and I tend to prefer character-driven family sagas. So while I really did enjoy it, and while there's a lot of really interesting things being said about how basically parents affect so many things, and how some of these things, these events almost seem like they were predestined, and that they were just all this perfect storm of threads kind of wove together to make this kind of horrible, tragic event. But again, it's more plot driven, so if you are really into the family sagas that are character driven, I think you really like this. It's more of like kind of a family saga mystery, and I did really enjoy it. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I then read The Grace Keepers by Kirsty Logan. This is a book that I have been waiting to read. I've heard so many amazing things about this book, and I'm so glad that I finally picked it up. It's the perfect book for fall, in my opinion. This one is very hard to place as far as the genre. It's an adult book. It's in a world later on in our own world where a lot of the earth is covered by water because of all these like natural disasters and stuff, so there's only very few people who live on land. So there are landlockers versus damplings. The damplings are people who live on boats, and the landlockers obviously live on land, and we've kind of reverted to this almost naturalistic religions, and we have different gods based on water and based on land, and people are very different than what they are now, and things have different names and everything else. But basically this follows 2 main characters, North, who is a circus performer on a circus boat, and Callanish, who is a grace keeper, which means that she basically buries people. She's like a graveyard keeper, but the whole process of people being buried at sea is very different and just very ethereal. This whole book is very ethereal. I'm having trouble kind of talking about and describing this book because it's like an ethereal, atmospheric, misty book. The way this cover looks is exactly how I feel about this book. It feels misty, just you can't really get an entire beat on it, and it takes a while to kind of digest after reading it. So the main perspectives we do get are Callanish and North, but we also get some perspectives of other people involved in the story. So we will occasionally get one chapter from one different person who's not Callanish or North, and just what's going on with them and how they connect to their stories. And it's really beautiful, slow, but interesting still. I always still wanted to pick it up, but at some points I was like, where is this going? But I still really enjoyed it. It's character driven, which is my personal favorite, and it kind of feels like its own kind of fairy tale in a way, and there is different Scottish folklore mixed in, which is always amazing, and it's circus story, fairy tale elements, atmospheric, character driven. I really, really enjoyed it. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I picked up was Under the Lights by Dahlia Adler. This is a YA contemporary, and it's technically the second book in the Daylight Falls series, but it's a companion novel, so you do not have to read the first book at all. I was not interested in the synopsis of the first book. I just wanted to read this book because, if you guys can't tell, lady romance. That's why I picked it up, honestly. So if you guys can't tell, lady romance. So this follows 2 main characters. Both of these characters are involved in Hollywood and shows, and they're both actors. So first is Josh, and he is the kind of Hollywood bad boy. He doesn't really have a running gig right now. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He's just the party boy. He's always getting in trouble. He's kind of an asshole. You get his perspective, and he's kind of a jerk. He says racist and misogynistic things sometimes, but Overall, I really did enjoy his character development in this story, and he turned out to be, towards the end, sort of likable. At the beginning, I kind of just wanted to cut out his chapters because I just wanted to hear about Vanessa, who's the other character. I really enjoyed her perspective. She is on the Daylight Falls series, which is basically like a Dawson's Creek, Gilmore Girls, OC, One Tree Hill kind of drama. And she is seen as kind of like the good girl of Hollywood, and she has this really sparkling image. Her agent is constantly setting her up with different guys to date and just to be seen by the paparazzi, and she's always finding herself not exactly interested in them at all. She isn't really sure what's wrong with her. She keeps considering herself straight, but then she ends up meeting a girl and they end up forming what she thinks is a friendship but ends up being a romance, and it's a really cute story and it really flows seamlessly, and I wish we could have gotten more of her perspective. Like I said, I grew to like Josh a little bit, but ultimately I think that her story was the best as far as the two POVs. I absolutely love the romance. There's also a sex scene in here which I think was done wonderfully. One, you never see sex scenes in YA like at all. It's always fade to black. This was this is a sex scene. You're not getting the fade to black, and it was an LGBTQ sex scene. Bless, because that never happens. Oh my god. Thank you, Dahlia, for writing an actual sex scene between two women. Wow. Wow. And no, I do not consider that a spoiler because sexuality is not a spoiler, and the girls are literally kissing on the cover. On top of all that, Vanessa is an Asian American actress, so there's a ton of diversity in here. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was fast-paced, I enjoyed the writing, and I plan on picking up more by Dahlia in the future. I gave this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. So that is everything I read this month. Comment down below and let me know what your favorite book is that you read this month. I think my two favorites were the two graphic novels. I had a great graphic novel month. Absolutely love them. So let me know what you enjoyed most this month. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!